Hey there, everybody. I've just been thinking today a little bit. I know everybody's posting something, some sort of encouragement or whatever these days. And maybe that'll subside after a while or just keep going. Everyone has something to contribute to trying to bring hope and encouragement in the midst of uncertainty and crazy times. And I certainly don't want to just be another voice or just add to the noise. But I am a pastor, and I do have people I love and care for. Uh, and they are the people of Good Shepherd and the community of Adair. And I know that there are many people who, whether they acknowledge it or express it or not, have uncertainty, anxiety, fear, um, about what everything that's going on. Our lives, for many of us, have been turned around a little bit. Some of us are staying home now with our kids all day long where we weren't before. Some of us have kids who are nervous about what's going on and afraid to go outside. Some of us are healthcare workers who are scared of going to work and scared of bringing home what they might pick up at work. And we need to be praying and thinking about all of these people. And then there are some of us who are, life is pretty much going on as it always has. Nothing much is changing right now other than the world around us seems to be in chaos, but we seem to be okay. And that's okay too. But there's just a sense of upendedness that's going on. And I just wanted to just share a word of encouragement and to remind you that to pray for one another, to check in on each other, to call the people that we know we need to call, to reassure each other, not act like nothing is wrong, but to give assurance in the midst of the mess. And I don't have any easy answers. I wish I had some brilliant, calming response for everybody, but I don't. A lot of times I turn to the Psalms, Psalm 46, Psalm 61, those are two of my favorites. Or the stories of Jesus in the Gospels, calming the storm. I think stories like that bring hope and can calm us and put us in a place where we imagine God with us in the midst of stormy waters, bringing calm to our lives. I do want to share just one thing, though, that I kind of typed up and as I was thinking through things. And this may be a reminder to you, it may be encouraging, or whatever it might be. But in the midst of this, craziness, our jobs are uncertain. We don't know what the next few weeks will hold. We don't know if we'll get sick. We don't know any of that stuff. And we just want life to be normal. I want to just say, God has never abandoned his creation. God has never abandoned you or me or any of us. And we humans don't always see clearly. We don't see that very clearly sometimes. We think we're left alone on this spiraling rock in the universe, spinning away the days when God seems absent, but God has never abandoned us. And yes, we don't always know outcomes. And we want to know outcomes in our age of immediacy, but the reality is we do not, we never will. Like the band Styx sings, we're just fooling ourselves if we know we can predict what's going to happen. We don't. And it's usually the case in the story of Scripture that when things appear at their lowest and when hopelessness rears its head, that's when God's presence and promises break through. But those presence and promises, that presence and those promises have been there all along. Maybe we've just not seen it until we get to the bottom of something. But God sees beyond what we do. I think of the stories of Abraham and Sarah, of Isaac, of Joseph, Ruth and Naomi, of Lazarus, of Jesus. There's a greater purpose that we don't see and often can't comprehend, even though we're part of that. And we're part of God unfolding his goodness in the world. We don't always see where it's going, even though we're part of it. As Paul says in Romans 8, whatever transpires that we don't understand is always God working for the good of those who love him and for those who are captivated by his love. The peace that we have in Jesus Christ is not always a peace that makes the world's chaos go away. It's a peace that exists in the midst of the whirlwind. It allows us to rest, to actually rest when the world is crazy, and to live in hope because our lives are in the hands of the one who made us and the one who rules and owns this world. The peace we have in Jesus Christ is unimaginable by human judgment. And this is primarily the case, I think, because the peace we have doesn't have to do so much with how we perceive whether or not God is in control. It's rather a peace because God is God, and God steers his people through storms. God steers this world through chaos. Whether or not we can perceive or whether or not we think God is in control. But think about that for a minute. God brings hope out of chaos and life out of death, which means that chaos and death still happen, but they are never the final word. God always has one more move. And we don't always see it or feel it, especially in the midst of the chaos and death. We can get tunnel vision and only see the mess, but God sees the point, the purpose where he's taking us. And we don't always have to see it and feel it. And that's okay. God constantly says throughout the story of Scripture, "Do not fear, I am your God, I am with you." And we know this. But there's a reason it's always repeated over and over again in Scripture, because we humans forget it. And we need to hear it over and over again. I am your God. Do not be afraid. I am with you. Especially when life seems out of control. And God looks out not only for us, but our loved ones and those around us. God shines his goodness on the good and the evil because he wants all humans to know his love. And God calls together a community to care for one another, to care for those outside its circle. And because of our hope, God calls us to run like Jesus into the hurting world with the flag of hope and resurrection. Because in Jesus Christ, there's always a new day. I want you to know that, even if it's just a reminder of what you already know. And I want you to rest in God's peace today. Have a good afternoon, a good morning, a good evening, wherever it is that you're watching this. We'll see you soon.